Hi and welcome to Christmas Yule Log workshop today with me, Michelle Wilding from Boozy Bakers. I will give everyone a chance to join and log on and get yourself a drink. I've got my Christmas tree today, feeling very festive with my festive jumper. This is a very interactive workshop, so do feel free to say hello, tell us where in the country you are baking from. Don't worry if you're not baking, if you just want to sit and watch and do it nearer the time, anything you like. Yes, do say hello and ask questions. If I've gone too fast or you want me to repeat something or just clarify something, just type me a little message and I will look at your messages as we go along. Right. Oh, hi, Irene. Nice to have you with us. Brilliant. I do like a Yule log. So it is a bit more of a technical challenge, this one. It's all right. It's not too difficult, I promise. It's just bits. We're going to bake the sponge to begin with. We're going to prep for when the sponge comes out because it's only a very quick bake. And then we will decorate. My only thing is I will check, but if the Yule log is a bit warm to decorate, I might suggest that you give it a few minutes longer. I'll be guided by how much time we have in the workshop, so I might just do it on a bit of a warm sponge, but we'll see how it goes. Right, so first things first, let's preheat the oven, so we've got that going. You will want a temperature of 180 for conventional, 180 degrees for conventional, 170 for fan or gas mark 4. So I'm going to put mine on. There we go, 170. I'll repeat that a bit later as well. Now, a roulade is basically something that is rolled. So you can have various roulades, whether they're meringue or you have savoury roulades, because it is the technique of rolling. This is a Swiss roll roulade, so it's going to be sponge based. So I've got a roulade tin. It's not much difference, to be honest, to a baking tray. It's maybe slightly narrower, but ever so slightly, and it's got just that little thin lip, just so that your batter stays within. Sorry, I've got a bit of a croaky throat today. So so I've got my tin, and what you want to do, we're making such a thin layer of sponge, which is why it doesn't take very long to cook. You want to make sure this is completely lined. So what I've done is I've got a pastry brush and I've brushed underneath with some margarine. I've got underneath the tin. I've then got some parchment paper and I've stuck that down on top. And then I've brushed it again with some margarine, so it's nicely greased. You can't see it. It's not like heavy on anything, but you can see like a sheen where it is oiled up. And nothing should be sticking to that today. So if you haven't already done that, make sure that your tin, you get a pastry brush, or if you haven't got a pastry brush, just get a bit of kitchen towel and screw it up, dab it into your marge and just give it a bit of a brush. You can use oil as well and just use that in the same way. Just make sure that it's nicely greased on your tin. So I'll put that to one side. There we go. Now, I've got a variety of bowls on me today. I want my glass one so that you can see what I've got going on. And I've also got my metal one, which I like to put my egg whites in. We're going to split our eggs for this recipe. So there's 4 eggs in total. We're going to put the whites into one bowl and the yolk into another. And we're going to treat them differently. We're going to whisk the egg whites up. Now, I did a workshop last night, and one thing that a number of people were struggling with was getting their egg whites to whisk up. So, little tip, if you've got like a bowl that you use to whisk things up in and it feels ever so slightly greasy, get that kitchen roll, put some white wine vinegar or some lemon juice on it, or cut a lemon in half, and just wipe around the bowl with something acidic that can cut through that grease, because that might be hindering your egg whites. So nice little tip there for you. So to begin with, we've got 4 egg whites. If you're not used to splitting an egg, what you want to do is give it a hit about halfway through the egg, prise it open, and you want, I've done it the wrong way, look, I've put my egg whites in the wrong bowl, but that's fine, I can tip it in. And you just want to juggle the egg yolk without splitting it between the 2 parts of the shell, allowing all the egg whites to go into the bowl. If you happen to get any shell in any of these bowls, look, I'm going to tip it into the right one now. There we go. If you happen to lose any of the egg shell into the mixture, the best thing to do is fish it out with a part of another piece of shell. They kind of attract each other. Right, I think that's it. So the egg yolk is going into that bowl. Now, if you want to play extra safe, do all this with a couple of mugs in front of you so that you don't end up having more than 1 egg white in the mug at a time, and then just keep decanting into the right bowls. I'm feeling a little bit confident, so we'll just keep going, although I'm putting it in the wrong one, look. I need like a shouter vision. People shout at me for doing it wrong. There we go. Right. There we go. I've got a little bit of shell actually went in that, so I will be using that technique I talked about just to fish that out. But in the meantime, let's just juggle that egg yolk around, get all that egg white in there, and the egg yolk into that one. And we are using all the egg, so nothing's going to waste here. There we go. I managed to split this egg the other way round. There we go. This is probably your messiest bit, probably. So just keep separating them. There we go. Yolk in that one. This is only 4 eggs. We can manage this. And last. It's weird, this bowl, when you crack them, they go the other way, they crack the other direction. It's odd. There. So just get that egg white in. I will give you other suggestions for this as well, if you want to have a bit of a play around with your Yule Log with flavours. But there we go. There's the egg whites in. And I do have a tiny bit of shell, so I will just fish that out. There we go. Allowing the egg white in. There we go. Right. That's my messy bits. Let me just wipe my hands because they do feel a little sticky now. So I'm going to put my egg whites just to one side, just for a moment. We'll come back to those. They're not forgotten. Now, to the egg yolk, I'm going to add 65 grams of soft brown sugar. And if you want to, you can add a bit of vanilla. It's not a compulsory thing, but if you want to add a bit of flavour, you can add a tiny bit of vanilla. There we go. And then you want to just give that a bit of a whisk up. You can either use a fork or a whisk, whichever you prefer, and just combine that. Now, I use brown sugar because it provides a next level of moistness to a cake rather than caster sugar, which is better at binding. And we want our Swiss roll to be soft. It's very easy because it's a thin bake. And it's quite easy for it to become rubbery. So we want things to be nice and soft and moist and airy. So we want to get as much air into everything as possible. So that is just the yolk and the brown sugar there, whisked up. Right, that's my oven telling me it's up to temperature. Now, I'm going to leave that to one side for a minute. I said that it's a little bit more technical, but not too bad, I promise. Now in this bowl, this is going to be my dry ingredients. So, you know what? I might actually be able to do it in this little one instead and save myself a bit of washing up. So in here, I've got 65 grams of plain flour. And then I'm going to add to that 40 grams of cocoa. Now, if you didn't want to do a chocolate Yule log and you thought, no, it's not for me, you can replace the cocoa with 40 grams of plain flour instead. It doesn't matter. Or if you want to make a Swiss roll another time and you want it to just be a classic without the chocolate, you can just replace the cocoa with more flour. So that's 65 grams of plain flour and 40 grams of cocoa, and then a teaspoon of baking powder. There we go. Now, what we want to do is combine the wet and the dry together. And then I'm not going to stir anything yet. The other ingredients that I haven't added yet is, or without tipping it, the melted butter. This isn't hot, you can see I'm holding it. It's just melted. So if you haven't already melted your butter, you're also going to require 65 grams of melted butter. So if you've got a microwave, zap it in the microwave for a few seconds, but melted, yes, but you don't want it too hot because you're going to be putting it into the eggs. Right, so just to recap, because there's a lot of bowl going on, I've got egg whites, I've got the yolk and the brown sugar in this one, and I've got the flour and the cocoa and the baking powder in this one. And on the very end, I've got my melted butter. So before I put anything back together, oh look, we've got Beverly. Hello Beverly. I'm just going to scroll down my page to making sure I'm not missing anyone. Nice to have you with us. So all these bowls, we're going to start combining in a minute. What I'm going to do is whisk up the egg whites. That way everything is ready. It's kind of fit for purpose. Oh, and hi Karen as well. So the 4 egg whites, I am going to whisk up with an electric whisk. I really wouldn't try a hand whisk, you'll be there forever. I'm going to make sure it's all whisked up into soft peaks, and only then am I going to add my 65 grams of caster sugar, but not now. We want these to be whisked up, and if you pour in sugar too quickly, it can flatten your meringues. So it's going to be a bit noisy for a minute. If you have any questions, please do put them in the comments. But I'm going to put this on a high power, and I'm going to just whisk these egg whites up, and I'll show you what it looks like. So if you're new to making meringue, the first thing that will happen with egg whites is it goes foamy, like really bubbly and foamy. Keep going. Right, that is, I'm so bad with my sense of direction. There we go. It's got to be the opposite, hasn't it, for you guys? There we go. So it's soft peaks. It's just fluffy. It's holding its shape. It's not going anywhere, but it's pretty soft. I'll show you the bowl as well. Now, you don't want any liquid in the bottom. Great way to find out if it's done is if you put it upside down, it will not fall out. It's holding its shape. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add very gradually the sugar to the mix, which will thicken it, it'll look glossy, and those peaks, which are soft at the moment, will become sharper looking. So let's do that, again on high power. There we go, and I've actually managed to not get it over me today. So that is the meringue whisked up. If I just see if I can get it to... Can you see the peaks look a little sharper now? It's less kind of cloudy looking, and it's a bit sharper on top. There we go. Let me just put this back in. There we go. Right. Next step. Let me just get this away from the whisk, just so I've got... Now I need to use the whisks again in a bit, so I might have to take these out and give them a little wash. Bear with me. So this is... if it works now, because I've been struggling, there we go, struggling with the whisks releasing on my machine. Right, bear with me. I'm going to give these a little wash. There we go. Have the hot water ready to go. Right, so let's now combine this and then we can put it into our tin. So, let's go with this bowl. We're going to get a sieve and sieve into, that's the egg yolk and the brown sugar in the bowl. And I'm going to sieve on top the flour and the cocoa and the baking powder. So, give that a sieve on top. Got a lot of cocoa powder sitting on that. Bear with me. Just get that pushed through the sieve. There we go. So we can give that a bit of a stir together. Might as well take my fork out now as well. That's not so needed. So give that a stir together, just with a spoon or a spatula. I've only stirred it a little bit, but to that, as you're combining it, just add your melted butter. So that's 65 grams of melted butter. I'm just going to put that into the mix. So you see now why you have to put everything together quite quickly. I love the Boozy Baker recipe and step-by-step video. Oh, thank you, Heather. Nice to have you with us. So there we go. So that, it looks such a small amount of mixture. I've got quite a large bowl for a little mixture. But you're looking at quite a small amount of ingredients there. It's all really, you've got the 4 eggs, but then everything else was more like 65 grams, wasn't it? So it's not huge quantities. The eggs, the meringue part of it, the egg whites, take up quite a bit of the space in the tin. So it's quite a thick, this chocolate is quite thick. You can see it's not all combined. The flour is just, there's little bits of flour speckled on top. I'm not too worried about that because it will get combined. What I'm going to do is just get a big spoonful of the meringue and just use that to loosen it up. I want to keep as much air in this as possible. So I'm kind of a little bit sacrificing this spoonful just to loosen the chocolate. And then I'm going to add the rest of the meringue to it and we're going to fold it in. And if you're new to baking, folding is basically a way of trying to keep the air in. So you're kind of getting your spatula from underneath and folding over the top. So you're kind of trapping air into the mixture. So that's very thick chocolatey-ness there. So I'm going to get on my meringue and I'm going to add it to the bowl. For anyone that hasn't preheated their oven who is baking, you want it at 180 for conventional, 170 for fan or gas mark 4. So I'm now just going to fold this in gradually. It's so messy to begin with, and you think, oh, I've not got this right. Just bear with it, and you kind of need to find the chocolate mixture, to be honest. That's a good way of folding it, is you need to find that chocolate mixture and fold it over the top. And I'm rotating the bowl with my hand slightly, just so I'm really evenly just folding it. And you'll gradually start to see it become a bit more of a chocolatey batter. So of course you don't have to bake this right now. You might like to do this on Christmas Eve or something like that. But hopefully you'll see all the hints and tips, and you'll know how long it takes to do, and what you can do in advance and what you need to wait until last minute. There we go. So you can see it's starting to really come together now. There we go. I'm quite happy with that. I don't mind a few little bits of the meringue showing. So if you've got little bits of white, like in that, I'm not too worried about that. So what we do now, clear the way. So come back to our roulade tin, and I want to pour that, or spoon it out into the roulade tin. So I decapitated myself on camera for a second, just so I can get a bit of height. I'm just going to scrape this out. And then I'll make sure this is spread evenly. Which feels a very cack-handed way of doing this. There we go. Right, just put that down. Okay, so spread it out. It is really thin. There's not a lot to it. It's a delicate little dessert. Just take it to the corners. And then we're going to bake this for 10 minutes. And I'm not going anywhere because we've got other things to do and other things to show you for this. So just get this in. Try and keep it as even as you can. I'm just going to use my finger just to scrape down the spatula. There we go. There. So I'll just show that to you. So that's my roulade tray, which is greased underneath and on top of the parchment with my batter on top. And I'm going to bake that now for 10 minutes. And then I can show you what it looks like. Oops, not that long. Right, so there's no stopping, I'm afraid. There's no time for a rest because we've got to make sure that we've got onto everything else. Now, that doesn't take very long to cook. Now, the way a roulade, if you're really lucky, doesn't crack, is we're going to roll it the minute it comes out of the oven. We're going to train it so it knows how to be rolled. If you take it out of the oven and you put it on the side and you leave it flat and then you try and roll it, every time you curve the sponge, it's going to crack on you. So it'll look rustic, you can still eat it, it'll be nice, but if you want it to have a curve, then we need to teach the sponge how to cool curved. And we can unravel it again to fill it, but we need to train it. It's like muscle memory. So I've got a slightly bigger piece of parchment paper, and on that I want to sprinkle some cocoa powder. When this is ready, I'm going to, fingers crossed, pop it onto the parchment paper, and then I will roll it up. And you get to witness all of that. Get your popcorn ready. Hopefully it will all go to plan. So let me get a sieve and just a little bit, you don't need much, just a little bit of cocoa powder. If you were to do this and you didn't want to make a chocolate version, just use a bit of icing sugar for this part. There we go. So a little sprinkle. Right. There we go. There we go. Now, other parts to this, it's all about the preparation. You are going to want, your parchment paper and your cocoa to be ready. And then, whilst it's cooling, we can make a filling for inside your Swiss roll, and then you want a ganache to go on the outside to make it into your Yule Log. Do apologise for any coughing. So I have to admit, I think, guys, and I'm really sorry, I may have accidentally forgotten to add the cream as a filling. I've said it as a ganache, so hopefully you've got more cream if you're baking this now. If you don't, you can just roll this up and leave it to cool and come back to it if you need to get any cream. But we're going to whip up a cream to fill the inside, and I will hopefully, I'm really hoping I can get it to cool down enough, even if it doesn't last very long for me, that you can see how I fill the Swiss roll to be able to roll it up again. But you need something to go inside of it. If you don't want to use cream, you could use Nutella. You could use any kind of like marshmallow. You know, you get that spreadable marshmallow. You could use ganache on the inside if you wanted to. You can add fruit if you want to add and make it more of like a Black Forest gâteau feel. You could add some nice black cherries inside of it, or some mixed berries. If you want to add to your cream, you could add some Baileys or some Cointreau to your cream. Just a good tablespoon should be sufficient. You might get away with a couple of tablespoons if you want it a bit extra boozy. So see what you can get away with on that, and what you fancy doing. I suppose it depends who's eating it as well. So I always get really large things of cream and keep them in the fridge around Christmas, because there is always something being baked. But I'm going to just add about the equivalent of a regular, I think it's 284, isn't it? Or about 300 millilitres of cream. There we go. I've already used some of it earlier. So that's about the right amount of this. It's about a usual container of cream. It's about 280 to 300 ml. Oh, hello, oh, is it Gisela? Gisela? Nice to have you with us. So yeah, cream, we're going to whip that up. I did have my whisks, there we go. So I can do that now. And the ganache, I will show you that as well, actually. Bear with me. Maybe we'll do that first. Oh, if that wants to go back in. There we go. Right, bear with me. I'll go and get the ganache as well, in case anyone's wanted to do this now. So as we've been discussing the filling, you're also going, if you want to make a Yule log, you tend to cover it in a chocolate. So rather than just doing melted chocolate, which will look nice, and then you pour it on the top and it will look great, but then when it sets, there's nothing to soften it, so it will crack. So what you want to do is make a nice ganache, and then you can spread it on, you can add texture to it if you want it to look like a log. And the way we do that is to get cream and chocolate together. So what I've got is in my little pot, well, it's a very old pan actually. In my little pan here, I've got some water, and I've filled it up to about a third, halfway. And then on top of that, I've got a Pyrex dish, which is heat-proof dish, and I've got 125 ml of double cream in that. And that's just going to sit on top, so it's not touching the water, but it just means that I can put this pan on the heat, and it's going to warm my cream up without my cream risking burning. So you want to warm that up, and then we're going to melt some chocolate into it. Now I use these Calibut bits of chocolate. This is milk chocolate. You can just get a bar of chocolate, just cut it up a bit, just give it a chance to melt into it. And it's again 125 ml of chocolate. So I'm going to go and put this on over a heat just to warm that through, and then I can come back to that with you. So just to recap, we've got the bowl of double cream, which I want to use to fill the Swiss roll. And then I've got 125 ml of double cream in this heat-proof dish over a pan, so it's a bain-marie. I'm going to heat that up and add 125 grams of milk chocolate to it to create a ganache to go over the whole rolled up log. So let me go and put this on. There we go, and we've literally got 3 minutes left on the cake, or the sponge rather. It's looking good. It's looking good. I just hope that I can turn it and it works. It's live, guys, so we'll see how I do. So I'm just going to create some space, knowing full well how messy this is going to potentially get, and the fact that I've got a hot. If you're doing this with kids, obviously you are dealing with a hot tin. I don't know why I'm saying kids, because you know what, it's just as dangerous for us guys. Okay, let me just clear the decks so I can be ready, and then I think we'll whip the cream once this is all wrapped. We'll see how it goes, but if you're doing a variation of this, do let me know what you're going to do. You could also add flavouring, so if you wanted to do chocolate orange, you could add some orange extract, or you could do a mint one, so add a bit of mint extract, and I would do that. I would add it before you fold it all together, really, just so it's combined in with everything else. But that would be nice. You could top it with little bits of segments of toast chocolate orange, couldn't you? So bear with me. We've got 1 minute left. I better get my oven gloves. How exciting. I think. We'll see. Scary stuff. I have done this before with my mum, and I've got a video of my mum looking really shocked. In fact, I put it into slow motion because she looked so worried that it was going to go wrong. But this is still a first time. Chocolate orange. Orange sounds nice. Yeah, I do like a chocolate orange taste. So yeah, I think that would work really nicely. You can go really fancy. You could make it like a tiramisu flavour chocolate roulade. So get a bit of espresso coffee into your mix. Just an idea. Right, here we go. Let's just switch the oven off. Steamed up my glasses. It's always a good start. There we go. So if I show you, you've got, it looks a little bit like the surface of the moon in a way. It's got like cratery bits in it, but it's all fine. But it is hot. So I'm going to try and turn myself sideways on. Hang on, not really help myself with having a big thing of cream to the side. So let's just move that over a bit. Right. And then 1, 2, 3, tip. There we go. Get rid of the hot tray. Right, see, we've survived it. It's all good. So I'm going to pull that back. I'm going to angle this down a bit so you can see. So that is a hot sponge there. And I'm just now going to peel back this parchment that it was sitting on, all the steam coming off of it. There we go. And whilst there is some chocolate sponge on that, it's not stuck, which is exactly what we wanted. Nothing has stuck. Right, so now we need to train it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it on the paper and I'm going to roll it, do a tight first roll. Remember, it is hot. Keep it on the edges maybe when you're not going to burn yourself, and roll it like so in the paper. So the paper's between all the different layers, if you can see that. See the paper's in between. And you want to try and roll it and keep it rolled like that just to cool off. Now this is really warm, so I will do the extra bits and give it as much time to cool as possible. I'm also going to put it onto a tray just so that it's got some air going underneath it, just to try and cool it down a bit faster. There we go. Up and down like a yo-yo today. There we go. So I'm just going to use the ends. It's actually gone on a slightly bit wonky, so I've got loads of area over this side and less over that. So I'm just going to put that to one side just to cool down a bit. Obviously, if it was flat, it would cool down in no time, but when it's rolled up, it contains the heat for longer. So we're going to whisk up the cream. So this was like a tub of cream. And I'm going to put it on a high whisk. There we go. Let me just get a spoon for that. And give that a bit of a mix up on the sides. I do find when I whisk up cream with an electric whisk, I'm a bit heavy-handed, so it goes that bit too thick, but it's okay. Probably be perfect for what I want to do. But there we go. I've whisked that up. So just be careful not to over-whisk it like I do. There we go. And then I'm going to get that cream back and we'll see how it looks. So see if we melt into the chocolate. There we go. So this is now a hot pan with hot water inside, and the cream is nice and warm on top. If I take the bowl off, I don't think it's hot enough by itself to melt the chocolate in. This is 125 ml of cream, and I'm putting in 125 of chocolate. So if you are a complete chocoholic and you need a load more chocolate onto your Yule Log, just add more, but even of both. So I'm just going to stir that in. It's quite important to get the cream hot or warm and then add the chocolate, and not the other way around. Chocolate will seize if you put cold liquid into it, or stands a good chance of seizing. So always do it the other way around, and add the chocolate into the warm mixture. So that's looking good. I'm going to take that off now because it is melting. I'm going to put that onto my oven glove. Because I don't want this to be too hot if I'm going to use it to decorate with. There we go. Now, if you do find that it's too warm and it's very, very runny, all you need to do is just leave it. You can eventually put it in the fridge, but to be honest, just leave it on the side and it will thicken. There we go. So that's nicely mixed up now. You can see it's that lovely chocolate. It smells amazing. So that shouldn't need too long to cool to be able to use it. Now this is really warm still, guys, but it has had some time to be rolled. So I've got a really pretty platter that I was going to put it on. I think I'm going to have to roll it first and then put it on. I don't think it's going to fit otherwise. So let's get rid of my tray for a second. I've got mounting things up right around the side of me. I'm just going to bring this down a bit. So, whoops, other way. There we go. So you can see. So I'm going to unroll it. I said you will want, if you're doing this live with me, or if you're doing it in the future, you really do need to let this cool for quite a lot more. Never made one before, but you're making it look able for me, so I'm going to have a try it. Please do, really please do. You'll be so proud of yourselves. So this is too warm to add cream. It just is. But I don't want you to have to wait around twiddling your thumbs to see how to do it. So you're going to leave yours rolled up for a lot longer than I am and let it cool down. But you can see already that it's got a curve here. It likes being rolled. So this is going to look like a bit of a hot mess towards the end, I would imagine. So you're going to have to excuse me on that bit. But I will show you what I would do. Right, spread it out. If it's easier, have it slightly thinner, the cream, or just dot it about so you're not having to drag it across the sponge. You don't need to fill that first bit too much. Don't feel you have to go all the way up to the edge there. Yeah, because I can already feel it's melting, so this is going to have to be quick work, isn't it? But it will show you how to do it when it's colder. So just squidge that on. And so if you want to flavour it, go for a bit of flavouring. Put some fruit in it. Grate some chocolate in it. Whatever you like. So I'm going up to that side on the end, but where I want to roll it, oh, it's going thin. Right, I'm not going to spend too long doing this because otherwise there will be nothing to show you and there's just a puddle of cream. Right. Okay. What you can do is cut a little cut down on the sponge, if you want to give yourself a head start, just to help with that first roll. But otherwise, what you want to do now is start doing a tight roll, but we're not taking the paper, we're not letting the paper go with it this time. We're bringing the paper off. Yeah? But you can put pressure down on this paper. Can you see? There we go. And then, with my very dirty cocoa-y hands, how good this would be if it wasn't really warm and about to melt the cream. There, just be confident with it. And I'm going to just rock that and tuck it under. There, we did it. Let me just clean my hands and show you. Can you see that? You've got a nice roll. I'll go the other side. Nice roll there as well. And yours will be even better because you will have a nice cold one to do this on, not a steaming hot Yule log. And that's crazy. Don't put cream usually on a steaming hot Yule log. Now, I had hoped that this would be thicker to be able to show you how to decorate it. Unfortunately, I think I'm probably pushing my luck to get this to go on. But this should be more like a paste. It's a bit sad that I've obviously melted it a bit too warm, so I'm sorry about that. But if I show you, all you need to do when it's a paste is just, I mean, it's not going to show you on this because it's just too thin at the moment. But I wonder if I can use something else. I don't think I've got anything, guys. Oh, hang on. Hang on, I've got some chocolate that I melted earlier, so I can show you with a bit of this. So it will be more like a paste, and you can add it on, like so. Yeah, like that. And you're going to keep going. And then if you want, I'm feeling very Blue Peter now. Definitely going to try a chocolate orange one. Or yeah, make sure you send photos to Virtual Village Hall. And then yeah, keep going. And then if you want to add design, you could use a fork or a knife to give it a bit of texture. And the other thing you can do, this is always going to be easier when it's cold. So you can go all the way around, and then on the top, if you want to, just do some like squiggly lines, like that. Can you see that? Just to give it a look of bark. I'm going to go around a bit more here. Don't worry if it goes onto your platter or your plate, or whatever you've put it onto, because you can just get a cloth and just give that a bit of a wipe up. Nothing ever happened then, did it? There we go. I'm amazed that the cream is actually still in this and it doesn't look like it's completely melting out the sides. Still really wouldn't advise doing it on a warm Yule log. Right, so you can get a lot better than my presentation on this. But you can see there that I've started to make a start. And then, to finish it off, get yourself a little bit of icing sugar and a sieve, and just very gently make it snow over the top. I tend to make it look like a blizzard because I'm a bit heavy-handed. There you go. Again, I would do this when everything's dry, otherwise it might just absorb into the chocolate. So cool. Cool is definitely the word of the day here. And then finish that off with whatever decorations you have, or a sprig of holly. But it is a little bit of a wet Yule log at the moment. You can do a bit better, but and hopefully you can see some of the design on there that I'm just creating, just using the tip of my knife and scraping through it. You can do this really well. It will look better than this if you do it after it's cooled. But we got there. I managed to show you every part of it. And we did it within 15 minutes. So I really hope you enjoyed that. Do let me know how you get on. Post your photos and have a really lovely Christmas. In terms of storage, it's got fresh cream, so make sure that you put it in the fridge and it'll last a couple of days if you let it. All right then, guys. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a lovely Christmas, and I'll see you in the new year. Bye.